There's a strange moment that happens after a breakup, a separation, or emotional distance, a moment almost no man expects. It's the moment the energy shifts, not in your favor at first, but quietly, slowly, and then all at once. She stops moving away and starts feeling pulled back. Not because you chased her, not because you explained yourself, not because you begged, argued, or tried to fix things. She feels the pull because something inside her changes, a psychological shift she cannot control. Most men believe a woman comes back because she misses them, but missing is shallow. It's temporary. The real reason she comes back is deeper than emotion. She returns when she feels the loss of power she once had over you. When you stop chasing emotionally and start choosing yourself, the dynamic flips. And when that happens, something primal wakes up inside her. Confusion, curiosity, regret, fear, attraction, all mixed together, strong enough to keep her awake at night, strong enough to make her replay memories, strong enough to make her question her decision. Here's what most men never learn. She only feels this shift when you stop trying to win her and start rebuilding yourself. When you stop explaining, she feels uncertainty. When you stop reacting, she feels curiosity. When you stop chasing, she feels attraction. When your attention is no longer centered on her, she feels the imbalance. It's not magic. It's psychology. It's emotional gravity. Women don't chase the man who needs them. They chase the man who stays grounded when they leave, the man who doesn't collapse, the man who grows. The moment you detach, not with anger, not with ego, but with calm self-respect, you stop being predictable. You become the man she misjudged, the man she underestimated. And growth is the most attractive energy there is. She doesn't want the man you were. She wants the man you became without her. When your silence speaks strength, when your distance shows dignity, when your life moves forward without waiting, that's when everything changes. That's when the power returns to you. Let's break down exactly how this shift happens. 1. The emotional shift she never expected. A woman starts coming back the moment the emotional balance changes, but it doesn't happen instantly. When the man she expected to chase suddenly stops, her first reaction is confidence. She believes she made the right choice. She assumes she still has control. She tells herself she's moving on. She expects your world to feel empty without her. For a short time, she feels powerful. But then something subtle begins to change. It's not regret yet. It's not missing you yet. It's uncertainty. She begins asking questions she didn't plan to ask. Is he actually okay? Why hasn't he reached out? Why isn't he reacting the way I expected? She assumed you would fall apart. She prepared herself for long messages, emotional explanations, apologies, or pressure. That was the version of you she thought she knew. But when none of that happens, her confidence starts to shake. Women are not pulled back by what feels familiar. They are pulled back by what feels unexpected. When you stop following the emotional script she wrote in her mind, you disrupt her inner certainty. She expected sadness. She expected desperation. She expected chasing. But instead, she sees calm, silence, stability, focus. And that contradiction creates psychological tension. Her mind tries to make sense of it. The version of you she stored in her memory no longer matches what she sees now. And the human brain hates unanswered questions. So she starts thinking about you more, not because she wants the past back, but because she can't understand the present. She looks for signs of weakness and finds none. She waits for you to break the silence, but you don't. She checks your social media, expecting pain, but sees progress. She thought you would crumble. Instead, she sees growth. That's when attraction quietly starts rebuilding, not the old attraction based on comfort or availability, but a new attraction rooted in respect. You no longer look like a man who needs her to feel whole. You look like a man who chose himself, and that's the shift she never saw coming. She expected you to need her. Now she fears losing you. This fear doesn't show up as messages right away. Her pride won't allow that. But her thoughts change. She revisits memories. She replays moments. She remembers how you made her feel, not because you reminded her, but because your absence forces her to face the truth. You mattered more than she admitted. When this realization hits, attraction is reborn, not from nostalgia, but from admiration. she sees strength instead of neediness, independence instead of attachment, a man who can walk away without breaking, and that is the kind of man a woman doesn't walk away from easily. This emotional shift is the foundation. It's the beginning of the return. The moment she realizes the story isn't finished, and she might be the one who wants you back. 2. Why her mind chases you before she ever reaches out. A woman never comes back all at once. Her actions don't move first. Her words don't move first. And her ego definitely doesn't move first. The return always begins in her mind, quietly, privately, long before she ever contacts you. When you stop chasing, the first emotion she feels is confusion. But this confusion isn't negative. It turns into curiosity. She starts asking herself questions she never expected to ask. Why isn't he trying anymore? Why isn't he reacting? Why does he seem so calm? These questions begin the chase, not for attention, but for answers. The human mind is drawn to what it can't predict or explain, and when you stop behaving the way she expected, her focus shifts back to you. Next comes comparison. She starts comparing the man she remembers with the man she now imagines. She remembers someone present, loyal, emotionally available, but now in her mind, she sees someone different, more detached, more disciplined, more selective, more focused. That contrast hits her harder than silence ever could. It forces her to face a truth her pride avoided. You weren't dependent on her. You were choosing her. And now you're choosing yourself. After comparison comes awareness. She realizes she underestimated your emotional strength. She realizes she assumed you would stay the same. She realizes her decision had consequences. And that awareness creates internal friction, an emotional pressure she can't switch off. This is when her behavior starts changing quietly. She checks your profile more often. She watches your stories. She asks mutual connections about you. These aren't accidents. They're subconscious reactions driven by curiosity mixed with growing fear. Then comes the trigger. She senses change. Maybe you look calmer. Maybe your energy feels different. Maybe your life seems more focused, more structured, more intentional. Women feel growth instantly, and masculine growth is one of the strongest attraction signals there is. Not because she wants to control it, but because she wants to be close to it. At this stage, her mind starts building a story she never planned to tell herself. What if he's moving on? What if someone else values him more? What if I misjudged him? What if I lose him for good? These thoughts create emotional urgency, and urgency is what eventually turns thought into action. But she won't reach out yet. Her ego is still resisting. So the chase continues internally. Restlessness, curiosity, imagination, comparison. She needs to fully feel the loss before she can admit the desire. She needs to sit with the silence before she breaks it. And once her mind begins chasing, her behavior will always follow, because attraction starts internally long before it becomes visible. 3. The power shift, when you become the prize. There is a quiet moment when everything flips. No arguments, no drama, no announcements. Just a subtle shift where the power dynamic changes completely. It doesn't happen when you block her. It doesn't happen when you act cold. It happens when you genuinely stop building your life around her. When your actions, your silence, and your lifestyle reflect growth she didn't expect, you stop chasing value, and you become it. Many men lose attraction because they try to act like the prize before they've earned it. But attraction grows when you actually become the prize first, then stay grounded and silent. This is what affects her psychologically. She starts realizing the man she assumed would always chase is now focused on improving his life. He's not seeking approval. He's not reacting emotionally. He's too busy evolving. And that realization shakes her sense of control. Before, when you were always available, she felt secure. Too secure. She knew you would respond. She knew you would lean in when she pulled away. She knew your emotions were predictable and easily influenced by her behavior. That emotional certainty reduces attraction, not out of cruelty, but because certainty removes curiosity. Curiosity is the foundation of feminine desire. The moment you step back, reclaim your attention, and stop feeding emotional reassurance, curiosity returns. She starts wondering who you really are. She notices strength she overlooked. She senses boundaries that didn't exist before. Slowly, availability turns into value. A woman's attraction grows when she no longer feels entitled to your presence, when she can't predict your reactions, when she realizes she doesn't have automatic access to your time, energy, or emotions. This unpredictability isn't manipulation, it's the result of internal growth. Your silence carries weight because it reflects discipline. Your distance feels powerful because it comes from self-respect. Your focus signals purpose. She begins imagining your life moving forward, with or without her. She pictures you becoming someone other women would admire, and the possibility of losing you permanently creates emotional intensity. Women don't chase men who beg. They don't chase men who wait. They chase men who rise, men who improve quietly, men who become stronger after separation, men who detach with dignity instead of resentment. The moment she sees you as the prize, her emotions collide: fear, admiration, curiosity, desire, all at once. And it becomes harder for her to stay indifferent. You're no longer the man who needed her. You're the man she doesn't want to lose. This is the psychological turning point. The moment she starts leaning back towards you, internally first, long before she ever says a word. 4. The moment. She realizes you're slipping away. There is always one moment that wakes her up, one emotional signal that hits harder than she expects. It's not when you block her. It's not when you act cold. It's when she realizes she is no longer the center of your world, and that realization changes everything. It starts quietly, not as panic, but as discomfort. A strange tension when she notices you didn't view her story. A small sting when she posts something and gets no reaction. An uneasy feeling when she checks your profile and sees progress instead of pain. These moments seem small, but they stack up. Each one sends the same message. He's not orbiting me anymore. He's not waiting. He's okay without me. That thought is deeply unsettling to her ego. Women are emotionally intuitive. They feel energetic shifts before they see physical proof. When she senses your attention is no longer directed at her, she feels off balance, even if she can't explain why. The emotional reassurance you once gave is gone. The invisible connection feels weaker. And the more she senses that distance becoming real, the more emotionally reactive she becomes. This is the trigger that forces reflection. Not your coldness, not your silence alone, but your independence. When you no longer need her attention to feel valuable. When your confidence doesn't depend on her response. When your life expands without her permission. When your peace becomes protected. That's when she feels the loss. Not because you left, but because you outgrew the version of yourself she walked away from. This is the moment she realizes the separation didn't break you. It refined you. And that realization creates two powerful emotions inside her: regret and curiosity. Regret because she now sees how much she underestimated you. Curiosity because you've become unpredictable. You're no longer emotionally available by default. You're no longer assuming availability. You're no longer positioned beneath her attention, and that shift shows in her behavior. She checks your profile more often. She hovers around your online presence. She posts things to see if you'll react. She drops subtle signals. These aren't random actions. They're attempts to measure distance, to see how far you've moved on, because now she feels it clearly. You're slipping away, and that fear is stronger than the fear you once felt of losing her. She knows that if she waits too long, she may lose you, not to another person, but to yourself. When she sees you becoming more focused, more disciplined, more calm, more selective, and more purpose-driven, she begins craving the version of you she never experienced. Not the old you, but the upgraded one. Here's the deeper truth. No woman begs for a man whose life revolves around her. She begs for the man who rebuilt his life without her. Your growth puts her in a mental conflict. She misses the comfort of the past, but she's drawn to the strength of your present. She feels the loss of who you were, but desires who you've become. That inner contradiction pulls her back emotionally. She starts imagining what reconnecting with you would feel like now, not out of nostalgia, but out of attraction to your new energy. Your presence feels rare. Your attention feels valuable. Your availability feels uncertain, and uncertainty creates demand. Your energy is no longer free. Your attention is no longer automatic. Your presence is no longer guaranteed. She starts picturing another woman receiving the version of you she failed to appreciate. And that thought creates urgency. Urgency breaks pride. This is why she reaches out first. Not because you forced anything, but because your evolution became impossible to ignore. She doesn't want the old you back. She wants the man you are now, the man she didn't expect, the man she misjudged, the man she now sees clearly. She comes back when your silence reflects strength, when your distance shows dignity, when your growth becomes undeniable, because at that point she's not returning to the past. She's responding to who you've become. Remember, the real transformation doesn't happen just by watching videos. It happens inside a community of men who are committed to growth, self-discipline, and mastering emotional power. This isn't a course you join for a month. It's a brotherhood, a space where every lesson, every tip, every insight is yours forever. No subscriptions, no limits. One decision, one step, and your life starts moving in a new direction. If you're serious about rising above emotion, building confidence, and mastering attraction, this is your chance. Click the link below, join the community, and commit once to grow forever. Because when you grow, the world notices, and the right people, especially the women you want, start noticing too.